Hey, what's up? I'm Justin. This is Make Supply, and today's video is not a new project video. However, if you're a man or a woman, but probably a man, let's be honest here, and you appreciate the finer things in life like beautifully glass burnished edges, I think you're going to want to stick around for a couple of minutes. This is a new video concept I've been kicking around for a little while. It's more of a commentary reaction style video where I scour leathercraft social media looking for interesting projects or makers doing inspirational work, and I pull it down and I bring it here and just chat about it for a couple minutes and see if there's any insight or wisdom we can pull from what they're doing and apply to our own work. And for the first episode, we are going to take a look at two guys on Instagram who are absolutely killing, murdering, demolishing the edge burnishing game. And if you are looking to level up your own edge work, I think you're going to want to stick around for the entire video because these guys are actually nice enough to leave some information on their process, which I think could be helpful to all of us and actually goes against some conventional edge burnishing wisdom. Let's get started. Okay, so the first profile we're going to take a look at here is under the handle on Instagram, Uncle Jack Handmade. And I have links to all these profiles in the video description below. And if you're on Instagram and you're not following Uncle Jack Handmade, well, I don't know what to tell you. His name is Roman Rad, and yes, Roman, you indeed look very rad, if that is you in the profile picture there. I wish I looked good with long hair, but if you watched any of my videos from 2 years ago, you will see that is certainly not the case. Anyways, I love following Roman because can I call you Roman? I'm going to call you Roman. Because he has the trifecta of things I look for in an inspirational maker. He has interesting designs, he uses interesting leathers and materials, and has an interesting construction methods. So just looking at a little overview of his posts here, you can see through the first 6 to 9 projects, it's a variety of different things, a variety of different leathers, and it's just like your eye goes everywhere. Everything's so interesting. Like especially this bifold wallet here. I mean, what is this? Like 3 to 4 different types of marbled shell cordovan with multicolored hand-stitched thread and just a really cool looking wallet design. Just excellent stuff. Anyways, where I think Roman really excels at is in his edge work. So here's just the first picture we're going to look at. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 little vertical card wallets, it looks like. And you can see just the meticulous effort he puts into burnishing these edges. Not a really, really heavy bevel. You can see that the edges are more on the square side, but just you can see each layer of the leather really shining through. Just awesome looking stuff. Moving on to the next picture here, we have a handful of wallets. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bifold wallets. Again, these things are beautiful. I love the multicolored look, and I'm so happy that people are doing more of this. You didn't used to see it back in the day. It was very standard, like brown, black leather, whatever, natural veg tan. That's the same thing I do. But people are really exploring all these new leathers that are available to us online, and it's awesome to see. Next post here is a little video reel. I'm going to keep the sound off just in case there's music. I don't want YouTube to yell at me. But here we go. This is from where it starts to what it looks like when it's burnished. Just excellent. Look how shiny that is. Shiny and even. So to go from that to where there's gaps and voids and things you're going to have to do a lot of cleanup work to eventually looking like that is just, I don't even know how you do it. Awesome. And this leather is, what is this? Made in yellow and violet Pueblo leather from ACRYLIC. 4 slots for cards and 1 for bill. Excellent stuff. The next post we're going to look at is a reel from his account, and again, you get a little bit of motion in here, and these card holders have insane edges. Again, I just love the time people are taking to really think about what color layer they're stacking next to each other, so it gives like a really nice cohesive view. This reminds me of Jawbreaker candy. I don't know, I might be dating myself here, but back in middle school and probably elementary school, it was a big fad to have those giant Jawbreaker candies that had the multicolored cores, and this always reminds me of that. Just insane work. And scrolling through the comments here, you can see basically everybody's interested in what his burnishing process is. Pink Pig Leather, oh shiny, what's your burnishing method? And he's gonna make a video soon, so make that video. We all want to see it. You even have Tokenol replying here. And here is our first insight into how he gets his edges to look like this. Little Dash Leather writes, how, just how. And Uncle Jack Handmade replies, lots of sanding. Moving on to our next IG video here, we get a little bit more insight into how he's doing this and even more information on the comment section. So he says, Uncle Jack Handmade writes, I keep receiving messages, how do you polish edges? I mix Tokenol with water and a marker in proportions of 2 to 3. So I'm assuming that's 2 parts Tokenol to 3 parts water. Apply and burnish with canvas cloth. Simple. But most important, don't forget to sand your edges. I personally do 150 to 1,000 grit. 150 to 1,000 grit. Think of how many steps there are in sanding between 150 and 1,000. I spent a very long day to finish these 6 wallets. And that marker he's using in the video here, I have a bunch of these. These are awesome. So he's using it to fill it with water and Tokenol, which I will probably do after making this video. But they're also good for filling with edge dye. So this is a 5 Inks Pro dye, and I use this when I want to actually color my edges. This has been kind of a trend for the past, I don't know, a couple years. People are doing it. I was very late to the show on these, but they're awesome. And these are just called Montana acrylic markers or something like that. I'll link them in the description below. And then further down in the comments here, we have Racing Bean Club asking, silly question, but how long would you say this took to sand through all the grades? Do you use a Dremel at all? He doesn't answer the question about how long it took. However, he does say that a little bit of Dremel work, but the rest is by hand. And then a little bit further down in the comments, we have Graham.c writing, how did you get them so smooth beforehand? Sanding doesn't seem to work well for me. And then we have Tokenol replying, sanding is the way, young Padawan. I love how active Tokenol is in Leathercraft Instagram. It's so funny. But then Uncle Jack Handmade replies, I sand with 150 to 1,000 grit sandpaper, which he mentioned in the post above. Before polishing edges, must be sanded perfectly. Again, another comment, I love it. You're always doing beautiful. I'm considering how to make my edges polished like this, and replying, thank you so much. The secret is a lot of sanding, 150 to 1,000 grit. So it seems like his answer to pretty much everyone's inquiry of how you get your edges to be like this is focus on sanding. The next video we're going to look at here, and this is the last one from Roman's profile, is again another video of him polishing the edges, just using that marker with his Tokenol and water mixture. You can see that there, and that's some canvas cloth. I love that sound. I would listen to an ASMR channel of just people polishing edges like that. Sounds incredible. And then Uncle Jack Handmade writes, edge polishing. I use a marker filled with Tokenol with water, proportions 2 to 3. Same thing he said in the previous post. Very important thing, I sand edges very good from 150 to 1,000 grit. Again, we heard that in the previous post. And then this is something new. I spend 1 to 1.5 hours on this, and polishing takes 5 minutes. So take your time and don't rush to sand with 1,000 grit if the edges are not ready for this. So that is a new insight into his process, where he is spending an hour to an hour and a half on sanding. So going through that process of the 150 to 1,000 grit. And if your edges aren't ready for the next higher up grit, you have to just keep working. And then the polishing process, what he's doing in the video there, only takes 5 minutes. That's really interesting, because how I would always think about edge burnishing coming up is, yes, you would sand it. Maybe I would do something like a lower grit, 150, maybe to like 500 or 400, something like that. But then I would just go ahead and grab my wood burnisher and my edge and just go to town for, what, a half hour, and always thinking that it's going to improve the edge. Maybe I would go ahead and sand it again and then repeat the process. But if I want edges to look like Roman's edges, I would be doing all of that in the sanding phase, and then at the very end, go over it with the Tokonol and polishing it up to that final shine. Okay, the second account we're going to take a look at on Instagram is Lighthouse_leather_co. So Lighthouse Leather Co. I've been following Lighthouse for a while now, and I really enjoy his work. And he also has the funniest reels. Just everyday leather craft pitfalls and things like that. It's just really funny stuff. So make sure you're following Lighthouse for awesome work and funny outtakes. So just checking out his profile here. Again, same thing with Uncle Jack Handmade. I just love the variety of different leathers, the color combinations. Like on this card holder here, the combination of this leather, the thread, the interior pocket being green, and just like that swooping motion down with that beautiful stamp there. It's just something that's so discernible and very much just Lighthouse. And Lighthouse is another one of these guys who recently graduated from Edge Burnishing University with straight A's. And here is one of his posts. A couple key fobs here, and it says high polish on leather edges. And you're not kidding. The top one, it looks like a natural veg color, just all uniform. The one in the middle, natural veg on the outside, and then a green, and then a real thin piece of black or something dark in the middle. And then that bottom one with a natural veg style red, and then that black along the middle. Just beautiful. And then over in the comments section here, we have a little bit of discourse. And what is this? Enderspitier. I don't know how to pronounce that. What kind of wax do you use? Because when I use Tokonol, I didn't get what like you get in the video. That's gorgeous in the video. I want it. And then Lighthouse replies, I don't use much wax. It's more sanding, one direction to a really high grit, and then Tokonol to finish, just a slight application of Columbus wax at the end. And here is another shot of some key fobs done by Lighthouse. You can see he's just dialed in with these color combinations. You got purple, orange, green, red, purple, orange, like this teal color. Here's another picture of the stack. And just a lot of thought goes into the way he puts these together. They're so discernibly him. And that's really important with leather work. You don't want to just make something that everyone else is selling. You kind of want to put your own brand and put your own vision into your products. These things look great. Then down in the comments here, we can get a little bit more information on the process. And I am the schnoz writes, those burnishes are so perfect. I've been struggling with mine. And then Lighthouse replies, when in doubt, more sanding. And again, we have Wallet 54222298 writing, how do you make shiny edges? I'm a beginner. And Lighthouse replies, lots of sanding, low to high grit. I sound like a broken record, but this is apparently the way to get edges to look like this. So let's recap. It looks like a lot of the conventional edge burnishing techniques that I learned coming up, and probably a lot of you as well, really focused on the burnishing process. You know, yes, you want to make sure that your edges are even and that they're sanded, but you could make up for any pitfalls that you kind of overlooked by burnishing, and burnishing some more. There are times that I would just sit there with my wood slicker and just burnish the same edge for 20 minutes or a half hour, expecting a better result. However, it looks like guys like Uncle Jack Handmade and Lighthouse Leather have really unlocked the secret that sanding is the most important part of a well-burnished edge. Instead of jumping from 100 grit to 400 grit and then straight to burnishing like I often do, and probably a lot of us do, you want to go from 150 to 1000 and hit every step in between, and make sure that your edge is ready for the next grit before you continue. And then once your edge is ready, the burnishing process is more of an icing on the cake situation, where you are just doing once over with tokonole and water, and then maybe adding some Columbus wax if you want. But like we saw written in the comments with people asking questions about how they got their edges like that, they said, when in doubt, just keep sanding. All right, and that's where we're gonna leave it. I really enjoyed making this kind of video. If you're interested in seeing more videos of this style, please go ahead and tap that like button, leave a comment. It really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. I can see the engagement, and I will decide what will be the next topic for the commentary reaction style video. Otherwise, have a good day.